Show. Turn up your mind.
And then we finally got pregnant. And then from there on out, everything was fine. There was no suspectable issues, anything. Everything looked good as far as heartbeats. Everything was normal. And then at our 20-week ultrasound, that's when they told us it was a little boy. And then from there, as he was looking at the rest of the body, he discovered at the head that there was essentially no brain there.
So alobar holoprosencephaly is a rare congenital anomaly, which means that it occurs during development of the fetus while in utero. It occurs or is found in about 1 in 10,000 live births. And it's a condition in which the brain does not divide normally into the two hemispheres or halves that it normally is. And so the major structures of the brain remain fused in the middle. These structural differences result in a situation in which the brain does not function properly. Most of these infants do not live past a year.
He pretty much essentially said, unfortunately, since the law has changed, my hands are tied. I can't do anything unless you develop a, severe health issue like preeclampsia, where your health is essentially in jeopardy, then we can induce. Or if the baby passes or something with the baby, gives them reason to induce in that aspect. We look at other options as far as, maybe going out of state. So we had an appointment that following Monday, so the third Monday of January, that we already set up for location in New Mexico. So we had that scheduled, and then once I went that Monday to do all of the paperwork and everything, they did the ultrasound, and I gave them all the information from my specialist as far as their findings and all of that. And they said, well, unfortunately, the size of the head is larger from last week, and we can't perform the procedure because the head is already measuring at 22 or 23 weeks and a couple of days. And their cutoff was 23 weeks and 6 days.
This is the torture of women. And like I said, if you didn't understand the misogyny that was, just bubbling beneath the surface, where it shouldn't be bubbling, but it should stay beneath the surface of what is acceptable behavior, what is acceptable legislation, what is acceptable to say to a woman, what is acceptable to be in this country towards a woman. The idea that this woman who wanted a second baby, wanted it really badly. And by the way, she had PCOS, and women know what that is. So it was difficult for her to get pregnant the first time. She has a 4-year-old. And then her husband had COVID and was hospitalized for 6 freaking months. And when he got out of the hospital, they said, okay, let's try again. And she was so excited that she was pregnant with her second child until the 28th week, and she had a sonogram that clearly showed that this fetal anomaly would cause a child to be born either in severe pain or blind because there's no brain, or without any intentional interactions, like smiling would be impossible. Severe seizures would likely occur. All kinds of, interventions would be necessary, like, very heroic interventions, feeding and breathing, and all of that would have to come from machines to keep this baby suffering alive for anywhere from 1 week to 1 year in this horrific state. But this is what Texas legislated has to happen when somebody has a fetus with no brain. I mean, this does happen, just so you know. I know the number that you heard in that report was 1 in 10,000, but that's 1 in 10,000 live births. Okay, this anomaly occurs 1 in every 250 pregnancies. This is not so rare that, you've never met anybody, or would probably go through your whole life never knowing anybody who had to suffer with this kind of news. if it's 1 in 250 that actually, of pregnancies that actually show this fetal anomaly, right? Now, there's only one live birth in 10,000 of these pregnancies because the baby doesn't make it. Because it has no brain. And they want her, and now she has to go to term and be tortured and traumatized every day that she wakes up until the baby is born and dies. Every day. I don't even know how you would explain that to a 4-year-old child who would be expecting a little brother. I don't know how you explain that to yourself. I don't know why anybody would, be okay, not okay, but be able to explain to themselves, oh, I live in this state, and this is, what I have to go through in order to live in this state, where Greg Abbott has decided that this is the kind of torture and trauma that I have to suffer through because he said so and he needs to win another election. Honestly, I mean, I cannot believe that is the scenario. And 5 women last week filed a lawsuit, same kinds of treatment by the medical profession, who wants to help but can't because they're being threatened with arrest. They're being threatened with 99 years in prison if they tend to their patients. And you got these psychos like Sarah Honey Boo Boo and the Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are actually trying to express to you that they know best. They know best. They know more than an obstetrician. They know more than your gynecologist. They know more than a psychiatrist. They know more than an adolescent behavioral therapist or a medical doctor who treats transgender children. They know more about all of this than you do as a parent because they believe in small government. What?